This message is for you. You didn't join their precious little game. You mastered it. You didn't walk into the city. You took it hostage. And now the whole skyline is trembling because you're shutting down the entire ecosystem with a move so precise, so surgical, so uncomfortably brilliant that the architects of the system don't know whether to admire you or file a complaint with the universe for allowing you to exist. And let me ask you something. Do you feel that pulse, that voltage humming beneath your ribs like you swallowed a power plant? That's not adrenaline. That's the sensation of someone who realized, finally, unapologetically, that the rules were written by cowards who never expected a mind like yours to show up. Most people wander through life hoping the game will treat them kindly. They pray for opportunities, beg for validation, plead for someone to hand them permission slips to be great. Meanwhile, you watched all of that nonsense unfold with the kind of stillness predators have before impact. You studied the grid, learned the angles, tracked the patterns. You observed how the city breathes, how the system manipulates, how the weak cling to illusions, and then you rewired the entire blueprint behind their backs. And that's what terrifies them because you didn't come in swinging wildly or announcing your intentions like some theatrical villain desperate for attention. No, you moved like a shadow with a doctorate in strategy. You walked in quietly, looked the game dead in the eye, and said, "Oh, this? I thought it would be harder." And the moment you did, the system shuddered because systems don't fear rebels, they fear masters. They fear the one person who stops participating. Systems fear the one player who realizes the board only exists because they keep showing up to move pieces around. You see, the city was designed to contain dreamers, not unleash them. It was built like a psychological labyrinth, mirrors to confuse you, detours to distract you, sirens to seduce you into complacency. Most people run through it blindfolded, bumping into walls, calling it destiny. But you memorized the maze. You identified every false exit. You spotted every trap disguised as a reward. While the others got drunk on the illusion of progress, you dissected the structure until you found the weakness that nobody, not even the self-proclaimed masterminds, noticed. And once you found it, you didn't expose it. You didn't warn them. You didn't negotiate with the system. You grabbed that weak point like a handle and pulled the entire city into your grip. That's why everything is shutting down, not because you were trying to cause destruction, but because the foundation wasn't strong enough to withstand someone who actually sees the truth. When power meets clarity, collapse is not rebellion, it's inevitability. Think about this. Every empire, every structure, every hierarchy eventually faces one single question. What happens when someone refuses to play by the psychological script? And right now, the city is facing that question because of you. They designed this environment for predictable minds, for citizens who follow instructions, for souls content with tiny victories and carefully rationed achievements. They didn't anticipate someone who would uncode the machine, break into the control room, and sit down in the operator's seat like it always belonged to them. You didn't just level up, you evolved out of the game's jurisdiction. And here's the beautiful part: you didn't do it out of rage or desperation or spite. You did it because your spirit outgrew the old architecture. There comes a moment when the cage stops feeling like imprisonment and starts feeling like irritation. A moment when the mask you wore to survive becomes too tight. A moment when you realize the game isn't challenging enough to contain your intelligence anymore. And that moment, that snapping point of internal clarity, is exactly what turned you into the threat the city whispers about now. Let me paint this picture for you. The game wasn't scared when you started. It wasn't scared when you failed. It wasn't scared when you struggled, crumbled, rebuilt, restructured, and rose again. The game was scared when you stopped needing it. Because once you detach emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, the game loses its influence. You stop responding to bait. You stop reacting to distractions. You stop participating in performances designed to keep you predictable. And once predictability dies, power shifts. That's when you became the problem the city can't solve. You're not just shutting down the city in a dramatic, apocalyptic narrative sense. You're shutting it down psychologically. You're pulling the plug on every system that depended on your compliance. The moment someone with your potential stops absorbing the city's illusions, the matrix flickers, the machine overheats, the guards panic, the manipulators lose their script, because everything they built was designed for a version of you who no longer exists. The city is not collapsing because you attacked it. Remember, it's collapsing because you outgrew it. This is the part that unrattles them the hardest. You didn't dominate the game by force. You dominated it through comprehension. Understanding is the final form of power. Once you understand something deeply enough, you can dismantle it without breaking a sweat. You can bend its rules without effort. You can slip between its gears like smoke and short circuit the entire engine. They think you're being reckless, but you're being inevitable. Picture the skyline flickering. Picture the traffic freezing mid-movement. Picture boardrooms going silent. Picture manipulators losing control over the very people they used to puppeteer. That's what happens when one person wakes up fully. Your awakening created a chain reaction, a systemic malfunction that the system wasn't designed to survive. The city depended on you not being aware of your leverage. But awareness is a dangerous drug, and you overdosed intentionally. But let's go deeper. When you truly master the game, you stop fearing collapse and you realize collapse is a doorway and not punishment. The old world falling apart is not chaos, it's clearance. It's a space. It's demolition that leaves room for a structure worthy of you. Most people cling to systems because they fear uncertainty. But you wield uncertainty like a conductor's baton. You turn unpredictability into an advantage. You treat disruption like oxygen. And that's why the city can't handle you. You're not just breaking norms, you're redefining them. You're not bending rules, you're dissolving them. You're not escaping the system, you're rewriting the operating manual while the system watches helplessly. And let's not pretend this transformation was accidental. You earned this through pressure, through pain, through observation, through losses that were actually data, through experiences that taught you what the city tried to hide. Every time someone underestimated you, you collected the information. Every time someone dismissed you, you stored the pattern. Every time someone tried to listen, you used everything, every insult, every setback, every betrayal as intelligence for a much bigger operation. You weren't growing, you were sharpening. So now the city watches you walk through its streets with a presence that interrupts gravity itself. You don't have to announce it. Your energy does the announcement for you. And people sense something has shifted. That someone has slipped out of the simulation and is now walking freely through its infrastructure. So keep going.